Welcome to Dark Sites, the channel that explores the world of government, military and commercial dark sites, extant, abandoned or demolished. But before we begin with today's episode, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Today's episode, Shield House Data Center and the Data Revolution. Data centers have their roots in the huge computer rooms of the early 1940s and the 50s. Early computer systems were complex to operate and maintain, requiring very specific conditions and large amounts of space. During the boom of the microcomputer industry, and especially during the 1980s, users started to deploy computers everywhere. In many cases with little or no care about the operating requirements, leading to various problems, such as potential data loss. Slowly, the first purpose-built data centers would be built. The boom of the data center came in the 1990s and 2000s, as even small companies needed ever larger amounts of storage and internet connectivity. Installing such equipment was not viable for many smaller companies, and even the largest companies had to produce specific sites for the task. The main goals of the modern data center are information security, energy efficiency, and the enhancing the business performance as a whole. With some analysts stating a data center is now obsolete after only 7 years, leading to an arms race of standards and technology across the sector. Since IT operations are crucial for business continuity and modern life in general, they include many redundant or backup components. For example, infrastructure for the power supply, data communication, environmental controls, and various security devices. A large data center is an industrial scale operation, using as much electricity as a small town. Shield House itself is located on Barnet Way in Gloucester, in the southwest of the United Kingdom. Built during the 1980s and the 1990s, the Barnet Way industrial estate is home to all the usual suspects: a Sainsbury's supermarket, a Booker's wholesaler, a Holiday Inn, and all the usual amenities and urban area needs. The estate is within easy reach of the motorway network linking it to Bristol, Birmingham, Oxford and Swindon, as well as the West Coast Main Line. But take a closer look, things get interesting. Lloyds Bank, Barclays, EDF Energy, defence contractors, and even GCHQ, the United Kingdom's Intelligence and Cyber Security Agency, all have secure annexes on the site. Secure electrical gates, razor wire, and ungodly amounts of CCTV cover every road and footpath. Some of the buildings look like could shrug off a cruise missile strike. Shield House itself was actually a very old data centre, built in the 1980s by the industrial company BIC. The original building was very much built with the era in mind, resembling an oversized BT repeater station, with a similar level of security. For those of you who are not aware what a repeater station is, we will be covering it in a later episode. This, of course, made planning approval for the totally new data centre much easier after BIC abandoned the building. But the building was vacant and derelict when Indectron came across and acquired it in 2015. If you want to know more about Indectron and its owners, they have a website and it was very helpful in the making of this video. Shield House is designed to be a protected environment for data and critical systems connected to a wide range of networks and cloud service providers. The original halls still exist as the basis for Data Hall 1, offering 120 cabinets, whilst halls 2 and 3, in a new 2-storey extension, each offer 200 cabinets. Combined, the 3 halls have almost 20,000 feet of space. But you may be asking, why Gloucester and this particular estate? Well, if you asked anyone what they knew Gloucester for, well, for much of the 20th century, the answer would probably include some combination of its historic site, its inland port, the aviation industry, the military, and possibly its rugby team if you're aware of the sport. By the end of the 20th century, the military presence in the aviation industry had declined spectacularly. RAF Quedgeley and RAF Staverton had closed, and through chronic mismanagement, the local aviation industry was at death's door. The port was almost derelict and too shallow to berth anything but canal boats, historic sailboats, and other river-based pleasure craft. The rugby team was hemmed in by the location of its home stadium, Kingsholm, unable to modernise its home ground due to the terraced housing that surrounded it. With the town increasingly looking derelict, the tourism related to its historic sites began to dry up. Then in 2000, work on the new GCHQ headquarters, known as the Donut, began in nearby Cheltenham. This created 5,000 new jobs. NATO established facilities for its rapid reaction force at the nearby Imogen barracks, while the remaining aviation industries and boat builders established themselves in specialist areas. For example, repair and restoration of antique boats or planes. And another example, Doughty Propellers has several sites in the area. The former RAF Staverton became Gloucester Airport, and RAF Quedgeley became the Kingsway housing development, though hints of the old base do remain and if you visit the area and look close enough. What followed with some government loans was a surge in high-tech jobs in the area. This was followed by numerous development schemes such as the redevelopment of Shield House and the growth of a thriving series of data centre sites, the IT security industry and other IT-heavy industries. It has been a far from perfect redevelopment. Several areas of the town have developed reputations for high crime rates, while the town centre suffered at the hands of the redevelopment of the inland port into a shopping complex, leading to related problems of abandoned shops and other commercial oddities. How would I personally rate this site on the dark side scale from 0 to 10, an entirely unofficial scale of my own creation? It's a solid 4. Yes, it's secure, but it's relatively easy to find information on, while its purpose is purely practical and not malicious. Hope you liked the episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and enjoy the rest of your day.